Okay.
Go ahead.
This is Carl Shields. The meeting will come to order. I'm the chair of the West Hartford Prevention Council. I'd like to welcome you to the virtual January 13th meeting of the council. This meeting is being conducted in a Freedom of Information Act as amended by Public Act 22, which authorizes municipalities to conduct public meetings virtually. Access this meeting by calling 1-408-419. Because of the virtual format, there are some special rules and procedures that I need to cover before I begin. First, I ask all participants to please mute your devices when you're not.
I just want to interrupt it. Is anyone else having issues hearing Carl coming through with his connectivity?
Yes.
Okay, let me move it close.
It's the connection.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have that script in front of me, Carl. I don't know if this is procedure or if this is something that I can reread so that folks have the number.
it was second pursuant to Executive Order 7B. All speakers must state their name and title each time they speak.
Wow.
Carl, you keep freezing. Yeah, Carl, I'm seeing that you're frozen on my screen. Howard, I don't know, like, given the circumstances, if this is a situation where you would almost kind of like take over or.
I'm going to jump in for 1 second. This is Nadia. Carl, it might be helpful for your bandwidth if you turn off your camera. That might provide some clarity. If we still can't hear him, then I think it would be better for Howard to read because
Okay,
there's a lot of information we couldn't hear.
is that better? Is that better for me? Yes?
So far, yes.
Okay, I see some heads nodding. Okay. Second, pursuant to Executive Order 7B, all speakers must state their name and title each time they speak. Third, because of the difficulty in tallying voice votes on a video conference, I will require that votes be taken by roll. Fourth, I would like to describe how the hand raising process will work. Unfortunately, our conference technology does not allow us to identify individual callers by name. So when the public comment portion of the meeting begins, the moderator will randomly unmute one call in line and ask everyone to say their name at the same time. The voice that we hear will belong to the person whose line is unmuted. That person will then be recognized by the moderator and asked to restate their name and provide their street address. We will repeat this process until we have unmuted every phone line. It is very important that you say your name each time you are prompted by the moderator. If the moderator unmutes a phone line and does not hear a voice after the prompt, that phone line will be removed from the conference. I will now call the roll. Bob Macca. Here. Patricia Graham.
Here.
Nordia Napier.
Present.
Brenda McEwen. Brenda? No? Okay. Howard Dashevsky.
Here.
Kadzo Kangwana.
Here.
Heather Alex.
Here.
Chris Dutton.
Here.
And myself. Okay, we're just missing Brenda, it seems. Without objection, I move for adoption of last month's minutes. I have folks reviewed, or are there any objections to the content of last month's minutes? I wasn't here, so I'll leave it up to you if there are objections. Are there any? There being no objections, last month's minutes are adopted. Okay, old business, West Hartford Prevention Council 2021 accomplishments and goals. I circulated that, well, at least once. And I got a little bit verbose, I think. Did people have questions or comments about that? I wrote it, so Kelly and Helen helped with some of the stuff regarding particularly the Amplify grant and the specifics of that. But this is what we hope to send to the town council about what this group worked on and accomplished that last year. Just in terms of the accomplishments, any questions or comments or major omissions from people's perspectives? No? Okay. I was really pleased that we did as much as we did in the environment with COVID and struggling, I'm sure, in the multiple environments each of you struggle with every day. So I just want to say bravo to each of you for that. Well done. I know how difficult it must be. And in terms of recommendations for 2022, any questions or comments about that? Did I miss anything? I think the most important analysis of that is that before the Amplify grant was submitted this year, I had met with the Social Services Department and clarified the findings of the wellness assessment to ensure that those created a framework in many ways for what got submitted for the Amplify grant. So it was very specific for the town of West Hartford, and felt really good about that. So that the work really had meaning for our town and was specific for our citizens and residents. So that's why the recommendations, I think, are appropriate. But, you know, you folks, because of all the settings you work in and such, you may have other recommendations for our work this coming year. If you want to talk about those, this would be the time. No? Okay. New business, council appointments and reappointments. There were 2 appointments that expired 12/31/21. That was Jonathan Merritt and Carl Shields. And Brenda McEwen, actually 3. 2 were interested in reappointment, myself and Brenda McEwen. And both of those were reappointed. And the 3rd person appointed was Chris Dutton from the Bridge. Welcome, Chris. As part of that process, it's not an automatic that, well, Jonathan was secretary and that role is no longer filled. So that's a position we need to fill. Also, the chairperson we need to fill. It's not an inherited role. So we need nominations for I guess we'll start with secretary, and then move on to chairperson, but we can start with secretary. Do we have a nomination for secretary for the council? I hear crickets. Um,
I understand that, Howard, you had volunteered to do the secretary duties for this meeting. Is it something you're interested in the long term? And if so, then I would nominate you for that.
Yeah, I don't hear of anybody, challenging or contending or volunteering. So I guess in lieu of that, I'd accept that. That would be a yes.
Somebody have to second that motion?
yes, we need a second for that motion. Do we have a second for nomination of Howard?
I second that motion, Mrs. Cadso.
Okay, thank you, Cadzo. And can I hear from Bob Macca? Aye or nay? Bob Macca? Oh, I see a thumb standing up. Okay. Patricia Graham?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Nordia?
Aye.
Okay. Brenda? Oh, no, she's not here. Heather?
Aye.
Okay. Chris?
I,
Oh, okay, and myself, aye. Okay, congratulations, Howard.
Thanks. Well,
And
it's
we'll work,
it's gonna be a learning curve here. Jonathan's a tough act to follow here. I'm taking notes here, so we'll see how it goes.
yes, he is, and I'll help you with this, Howard.
All right.
Okay, and we need a nomination for chairperson.
I nominate Carl.
Who's the wise guy who said that?
Nordia.
Nordia, okay, Nordia. I guess I'll accept the nomination, but I'm not opposed to anybody else stepping in either, so. Is anyone else interested? I like competition, that's all I'm saying. It's a healthy American thing. I guess that's a no. Okay, do we have a second for Carl's nomination?
I'll second.
Is that Howard?
Bob Macca.
Oh, Bob, okay. Okay, Patricia?
Aye.
Hi. Let's see, Howard?
Aye.
Heather?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, I think I got everybody. Did I get Nordia? Yeah. Yeah, because first and
Aye
second.
again.
Okay, I thought so. So, well, welcome me. Okay. So that covers our positions on the council. The wellness assessment top 10 findings. That is something that I had been talking about really since we completed that last May. And I finally got around to doing it and summarizing it for people. So that's really about all I had to say about that. But I wanted you all to have that because I think it's going to be important moving forward. As we go along and look about and think about what we need to do as a group and in our collaboration with the prevention partnership, where should our efforts be? What are the residents and stakeholders in West Hartford telling us is needed in West Hartford? This was very telling, I thought, in both arenas and in the co-occurring arenas, particularly with wanting more collaboration between providers. I was kind of taken aback at that and the wisdom in some of their recommendations about that. I guess coming from a system myself where there were weekly or monthly meetings amongst all the providers to talk about what are the gaps in services, what needs to happen, how do we transfer from one service to another. All of that is clearly set up and talked about, and if there are bumps in how it happens, it's worked out as a group, not necessarily one provider to another. So it's a learning process for everyone. And that was in there in the recommendations too. So I thought there was a lot of truth and wisdom in what the citizens of West Hartford had to say.
Carl, as you're talking about coming from a system where, there's, monthly meetings or weekly meetings, systemically, it's amazing how differently sort of the less intensive areas of the service system don't collaborate amongst providers.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about, so the bridge hosts once a month, we call it the West Hartford Children's Network meeting. And it's mostly, school providers and us and a couple other, agencies. So like the YMCA comes usually, and sometimes Jewish Family Services will come. But I keep thinking like that would be a real good opportunity to get more of the private providers that treat children, right?
Right.
And coming at, since that's a recommendation that's coming from this assessment, I'm wondering if this body could have some kind of role in creating, and I think this came up back when we were still meeting in person before COVID, but some sort of a network of, I mean, there's 1,000,001 therapists and providers in town here, right?
Yes, yes.
Medical providers and substance abuse providers. And if this body could do something to kind of try to pull them together in some sort of a network to create at least informal networks of care for people, that would be an important way, I think, to move one of those recommendations that comes from that assessment forward. I don't know exactly what the shape of that would be, but it's amazing how many people we have kind of working at the same problem from different angles that don't necessarily talk to each other.
Right. Where and when do those meetings meet? And I guess we could decide as a council, should or could one or two of us go to one of those meetings and look at an opportunity to move that
Yes,
initiative
the
forward.
meeting that we host, John actually coordinates that. It's God, now I'm not sure. It's either the 3rd or the 4th Tuesday at 8 a.m. Typically it was at Town Hall. I think we were hoping to get back to Town Hall, but now I think we're going to continue to be virtual for the time being.
Yeah.
That is only really specifically for kids, but what I'd love to see is having like a children's network and then maybe even just like a wellness professionals network or something of that nature at the adult level. But I don't know if that would live with like social services or if it would live with this group. The Bridge probably wouldn't spearhead one that was aimed at, the wider population because we're sort of more kid centric, but I can forward you the contact information for it, or I'll have John send you an invite to that because, anyone from this group would be welcome at that meeting for sure.
Okay, great. Kelly, did you have a comment?
Yeah, it's the 4th Tuesday. I looked at my calendar. And then just a comment to follow up what Chris was saying though too. So one of the things for the West Hartford Prevention Partnership Coalition that we had started, one of the initiatives that I'd like to have, and actually I'm reached out to Megan Westcott, is trying to organize a like a resource fair, like a health resource fair, more so focused on mental health and substance abuse. So this could be a real, like an opportunity to kind of capitalize. Like my thoughts was having it coincide with the Drug Take Back Day, which is April 30th. So not much work has been undertaken in this yet, besides trying to identify like what could be a good date, and really trying to pull together just different community providers to be able to share with the community what resources do exist. So I'd welcome any input or collaboration on that project as we move forward and trying to get that run off the ground.
Yeah. Well, I'd be happy to help you with that, Kelly. And I guess in my head, there's such a large group of willing and capable, competent participants in West Hartford who operate in their own little silo. And if even 2 or 3 of them joined together in a joint effort, it would be so very powerful. And given how lean and stressed individual organizations are in this current environment, because of staffing and finances and everything else that's going on, it would be a wonderful time for them to find support from one another. So those opportunities, I think, even though people will struggle to find time to go to a meeting, once they got there and discovered each other and the common elements, it could be really a revelation. So I think that's the payoff in all of this. And it ends up paying off for people in recovery, whether they're children or adolescents or adults.
Hi, this is Megan with the West Hartford Bloomfield Health District. Kelly and I were talking a little bit about, as she mentioned, potential dates to combine these 2 efforts, the Take Back Day and something geared more towards mental health and awareness. The Take Back Day is a set date. It's April 30th this year. It's the last Saturday of April every year. So that is kind of a strict date, but the health district would love to assist with any collaboration efforts that we can for this.
That sounds great. Yeah. That's a good target date too. I had a great conversation with Patricia Graham about May is Mental Health Month and the number of children, adolescents, and the stress in the school system, and the increase in depression and suicidality, not just West Hartford and in our country. And the increased focus on this nationally and in the state. And what opportunities there might be to look at that and do something differently. From a preventive perspective, I know the Connecticut Suicide Advisory Board is offering a training the 14th this week. Did you get that notice, Patricia?
Yes.
It looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of opportunities that are out there.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Carl.
Yeah, I think maybe some of those we could maybe share with members of the council.
Yeah, I can send that one out.
That one particularly really struck me as being appropriate for this group. It was geared, I think, a lot towards educators, school teachers, administrators, principals, people working with kids. So that would be good. I know it's only, I think, an hour and a half or 2 hours. It's a web-based training on QPR.
Was that sponsored by?
The Connecticut Suicide Advisory Board. It's a DEMA-sponsored organization. Andrea Duarte up at DEMA's office of the commissioner. She's one of the people who primarily oversees prevention, technical training and such for the department. So
I just put it in the chat. It's an NIMH one. I think it's from 2 to 3:30. So if anybody wants to attend, it's easy to register.
that's great. Thank you so much, Beth. Ask and you shall receive, huh? I like it. Okay. Anything else about the top 10 findings or where we might head with those?
Carl, it's Nordia. Have you guys done an ABH search? Because I think if you narrow down the town and human services, you'll find some of those private providers and be a way to invite them to some of those community meetings.
No, I don't think we have.
Because you can check ABH because most people register with ABH as well
Okay.
to get reimbursement for payment.
Yep.
So could be a way to find some of those community providers who are working independently.
Okay.
Or have small clinical services locally as a way to kind of
Great.
start the invite list.
Thank you for that recommendation. Also, was it you, Kelly, that sent out the West Hartford equity profile? Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if I sent it to this group. I sent it to the West Hartford Prevention Partnership, I think, group.
Oh, it was really great. And that Data Haven was one of the groups that, we used extensively to when we did the wellness assessment, because they have been such a wonderful resource over the years at looking at each town in Connecticut. So we used 2018, 19, 20 data in the wellness assessment. So it was great to see such an update and the changes that have happened in West Hartford. I don't know if people in this group might be interested in it.
Yeah, I had added you to the distribution for the prevention partnership and then figured that if there's anything that you feel is relevant that you want to then forward to this group, because I don't
Okay.
want to take over kind of
Yeah.
sending too many emails around, and some folks kind of might get them twice, but that's okay.
Yeah, actually, there were a couple of pages that I think would be particularly interesting to this group, not the whole thing. So that's a good point. Okay. You want to move on to Amplify grant, Kelly?
Sure. I mean, so I was referencing that a little bit. we had canceled our December meeting, a lot kind of last minute. I had to cancel it, and our next meeting is going to be next week, and we've actually moved to WebEx as well, given the rise in COVID numbers. So if anyone wants that information, you can reach out to me, and I can forward you the link if you'd like to join. There's another kind of opportunity for us to apply for another grant, the SOAR mini grants, so the state opioid response grant. And so the local prevention councils are given priority. So that is DEMIS funding up to $5,000. And you have to basically pick 3 initiatives. So one of the initiatives that is listed in there is actually QPR and Narcan training for the community. So that's already something that was on our radar in the Amplify grant. And I had conversations with Amplify, who basically is who's putting out the grant proposals and who you send them to. And so they had suggested that we actually go for this grant and be able to kind of move funds around a little bit, and it kind of frees up monies elsewhere. And it's, definitely an initiative that I want to do. And I know that there's interest, I think, in the community with doing QPR trainings and getting more folks trained in West Hartford to be facilitators of QPR. So that's one of the things, going on. We've transferred, making some donations to the Safe Grad. So we've made strides in that. And then, like I said, I think starting to try to pull together this plan for doing a big community event, health fair of some sort. And that, I think the date of April 30th, actually, I think would work perfect if we're able to find an indoor location, hopefully at Charter Oak, maybe they'll allow us to be in there right when they're doing the drug take back, to be able to have providers and do a resource fair, because then you have May's mental health awareness, right? So that could be a really good opportunity to have folks come out, and then we have other opportunities lined up for May's mental health, month. So providers might have more things going on, and they could really promote whatever else is going on in the month of May at an event in late April. The other thing that we have coming up, actually on the 26th, Wednesday, January 26th, is the video PSA virtual workshop. And that is to have teens, so high school age youth, participate in this, and then create PSAs, anti-vaping PSAs, to spread the awareness around the dangers of vaping. So that is a free opportunity for kids to sign up for. It's on a Wednesday, so kids get out of school Wednesday early already. So this will be from 2 to 5 on Zoom. It'll be virtual. And there'll be opportunities for them to win prizes if their video is selected, and then it'll be shared out with the community.
Kelly, what's the April 30th date is what? That's the
The 30th is what we're talking about. That's the second. There's 2 dates that are scheduled for drug take back days. So that is the set date for the health district's drug take back, where they where folks use unused medications or whatever. So my thought is that if we can capitalize on something that is already happening as an event and combine them, then hopefully you draw more folks out. More to come on that.
Well, that sounds exciting. More money to do QPR. That's a great thing. Thank you, Kelly.
No problem.
Standing reports, social services. Is that you again?
It is.
I think it is. Yes, it is.
So I don't have too much to report out. So right now, Astrid's out on a little bit of a leave. We obviously, there's been, and the health district might report a little bit more on this as well, but we've been obviously distributing the COVID tests and masks. So there was some large scale community distributions of that. But then there's also a lot of work being done with social services to get that masks and the kits into the hands of those that are most vulnerable. So low income, you know, like congregate care, you know, like places where senior centers, group homes, like the food pantry is doing distributions. So we do have some, you know, to give to more of like those low income families that might have a harder time getting their hands on testing kits and masks and stuff. So it's not something that's widely advertised, but we do have some access. And there's even volunteers, like, so for folks that are like more homebound or have difficulty, you know, with getting on transportation to get out to these larger scale distributions, we're able to deliver some to them. Relocation continues. Like I know that we've housed, I think more and more folks are getting into permanent housing from that flood that had happened, but there remains to be some barriers and challenges with a few folks. I know that there continue to be a lot more evictions happening. Unfortunately, the moratorium has ended, so like social services tries to do a lot of preventative work with trying to stop the evictions before they happen. But when they do happen, usually we go out, one of us goes out on scene and helps to try to secure the belongings and you know, put them in storage if they don't have anywhere to go. But hopefully we prevent that before that it gets to that point. We continue with fuel assistance and energy assistance and all of those types of things.
Okay. Thank you. What's Hartford Bloomfield Health Department?
This is Megan Westcott with the West Hartford Bloomfield Health District. Just a couple of small things today. We are continuing our booster clinics in our office Wednesdays and Thursdays if anybody you know of needs their booster dose still. We are also giving out the COVID test kits, the at-home quick view test kits for all residents. Every resident is able to get up to 2 kits. They can come by our office to pick them up. They can call us if they have symptoms. We bring the kits out, or they can come in. Proof of residence is the only thing required. We will be receiving masks in the next couple of days to give out to residents as well.
Okay. Thank you, Megan.
Sorry, quick question, it's Nordia. How is that advertised to residents? Is it on the website that they can get 2 kits?
It is on the website. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure what other media channels it was advertised on. But I could find that out and pass that info along. I know it was advertised. I just personally have not been keeping up on that.
Yeah, if that could be distributed so that everyone in different streams of outlets can forward that along, because I don't think too many people knew that they can get 2. I think they knew they were being handed out, but that they're actually obligated for 2.
Definitely, I can send that over in email.
Okay, thank you. Do we have Joseph Hopkins or Nicholas Sanford from the police department or no? Oh, yes, I think Joseph is here.
Yep, I'm here. No,
Hi, Joseph.
from our side, there's not much to report. We're kind of, Nick and I are doing our best to kind of help out whenever we can with the clinics. You know, and obviously we're trying to do our best to combat what we can, you know, with vaping in the schools and trying to nip it in the bud as much as we can. Obviously, you know, we're keeping an eye on it and making security aware. There was a report today from Sports Medical Science Academy. I saw that they had a student in critical condition who overdosed on fentanyl and 2 other students in critical condition. So it's still out there, and obviously they're getting their hands on it. So just trying to do our best to make sure we can stop it before it reaches to that point. Yeah, I don't know if Nick has anything else to add.
Hi, everyone. I don't
Hi,
know if
Nick.
you can hear me, but
Yep.
I know I had brought it up last meeting that at least all sophomores at Hall High School would be receiving the substance abuse presentation that I put together. So that has been completed. All those students have received that. And again, like Joe said, we're just kind of still working on the vaping stuff, and I think there might be some type of program coming up in the spring that the school is going to present on vaping as well.
Okay. Thank you. West Hartford Public Schools. It's interesting, so much in the news all the time now about police in the schools and TikTok and rumors and guns and, you know, things that are extraordinary. You can't go a couple of days without wondering what teachers and students are going through, and what it must be like to be in a school today. Is someone here from the public schools?
I'm here, Carl. I can go as
Oh, hi, Melissa.
Melissa Hickey, assistant principal, and I know we have two other representatives as well. You're right. The students it's been an interesting year, and students, for the most part, you see them rise to the occasion and amaze us every day because they're adaptive and resilient, and that's what we're learning this year. And it's absolutely amazing to see what they're capable of. A few things for West Hartford Public Schools. So for Black History Month, we're doing a panel that's based on this year's theme, which is Black Health and Wellness. So in honor of that, the two high schools, Hall and Conard, are organizing a series of panels to engage, inspire, and inform our young adults to consider careers in healthcare, mental health, and STEM. So at this point, we're hoping that our young people can learn from the personal stories of professionals of color that will be on the panel, and sharing their experiences leading up to and throughout their careers. So for mental health, I know we're partnering with the Bridge. I'm on the STEM panel, so I'm working with alumni, teachers, parents, neuroscientists, biomedical engineer, EMT, a bunch of people that are in that field. And it's just absolutely amazing how interested the panelists are in joining us. And I'm really excited. On 2/16, all students it will be virtual from 8 to 9. We have an adjusted bell schedule, and all panelists will be answering questions that the students provided a week ahead of time. And so we're really looking forward to that, mental health being one of the three. For SMART, I know Chris Dutton, I didn't know if you were going to talk about this, but I had the absolute honor of talking to Ashley Acosta and Janelli, who are two clinicians at the Bridge. We'll be starting a SMART program. We'll be starting a SMART program at Hall after school every Tuesday. And it's really it could be a DAT component, educational component, a student that unfortunately we've seen in the school if they're using or making, a decision that's not leading them down a good path. We have an educational component with our drug and alcohol team that we could use SMART for, but it's also for students who are interested in learning more. They're seeing it. They may be peer pressure. They don't really know what to do. They want a place to talk about it. There's two clinicians that will be available weekly to have that discussion, which is fantastic. And it's really teaching oriented more than like a group therapy oriented. And then in community, we actually focused on managing stress for for this week and next, because you have upcoming midterms. So we're focusing on a lot of that as well. And we actually reduced the midterm percentage in the grade book from 20% to 10% because of COVID numbers, as well as the fact that we're still, the social emotional well-being of students and what a big exam can do. The stress that can cause. I'm going to mute myself because my 5-year-old is
Wow. That's very impressive, all the prevention and the ways that the school system's addressing that. Bravo for that. Reassuring to hear. And the context of what you're dealing with. I'm impressed. Thank you, Melissa. The bridge?
That's me. So not a lot of new things. Melissa stole my thunder on the smart group at Hall, but we're really excited to be offering that. And I think Tor Fisk is still on the call somewhere, but we're hoping to get one going at Conard as well. We were running into some just, I don't know, coordination difficulties before I went away for a little bit. But now that I'm back, while I was away, Lindsay Tringali had reached out to me, and so we're going to hopefully get that going at Hall as well. I know there's a few kids that for various reasons have come to my attention that could benefit over there as well. We're also toying with the idea, although we didn't have a lot of attendance previously, but we're toying with the idea of hosting a non-school-based smart recovery group at the Bridge Clinic, but we have not got that up and running yet. We need to kind of gauge a little more interest in the community before we try to do it. Most of the Bridges prevention work is sort of prevention by way of direct services. So it's our, direct school-based counseling, mentoring, and groups, which are all bustling like crazy. We're seeing a lot of kids and helping, hopefully, keep them from needing additional support and services and making, further risky decisions. And then, we mentioned the teen center in here a lot. Our teen center is at Elmwood Community Center. It's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoon. And we really use that to offer a safe, supervised, and substance-free place for kids to come and hang out and recreate and socialize. We're there from 2:30 to 5 on Mondays and Fridays, and from 1:30 to 4 on Wednesdays. I don't often talk about the leadership committee. That's part of the teen center. But I think what's exciting about the leadership group this year is that we really had to rebuild it a lot. John worked really hard with the one previous member of leadership that did not graduate last year. Usually we try to recruit a lot of sustaining members, but COVID kind of interrupted that the year prior, obviously. And so this was a huge rebuilding year, but John really took that as an opportunity to kind of retool the mission of the leadership group a little bit. And so they are going to be engaging in more targeted community service interventions kind of in town throughout the spring and possibly even into the summer. We also, as part of a separate grant that the Bridge has, offer life skills classes at the teen center. Previously, we had offered them to the leadership group sort of as a kind of bonus for being part of leadership. This year, the goal is to have the leadership kids actually help to facilitate some of those and facilitate some of the recruiting with us. And so, hopefully that will be something that offers, kids something else to do besides, get involved in risky behaviors. The other thing that the leadership group will be helping us to do is to facilitate a series of movie nights in the spring that will be outdoor. We'll have one targeted for sort of younger, maybe, early elementary school kids, and then two that'll be targeted towards families with young children, elementary school aged, but like wider age range than sort of the young ones. When I have more specific information about that, I'll share that with this group because it'll be great to have help sort of marketing those throughout town. Last year, we tried to do one on Halloween and we got freezing rained out. And the following week, we tried to do it. And we had previously had, I can't remember if it was 100 families or 100 people had signed up. And then on the rain date, about 5 families showed up because it was no longer fun to watch a Halloween movie because it was past Halloween. But the concept seemed to be really popular. And so we're really hoping to capitalize on that idea this spring when hopefully the weather will be a lot more cooperative. And that's it.
Thank you, Chris. Sounds very busy, and I love the evolution of your leadership group into some peer support activities. That's very exciting.
Yeah, we're really excited about it, and the teams that we went from having one team that came back from last year who brought a friend to now we have 11 confirmed members. We created an application process, and so since they had to apply and they can't just kind of drop in,
yeah,
we're really hoping that the level of commitment will be
Yeah.
increased beyond what was already a pretty good level of commitment.
Yeah, that's the power of peer support. Great. Thank you. Prevention partnership.
I feel like that kind of overlapped with like the Amplify grant because
Yes.
a good portion of that right now is centered on the Amplify grant. So just to reiterate that we have our next meeting next Thursday from like 5 to like 6:37, and that will be virtual via WebEx.
Okay. Thank you, Kelly. We come to our public comment section of the meeting at 5:59 p.m. Considering our bumpy meeting beginning, all because of me, I'm kind of happy about that. Do we have any calls? Uriah?
Chairman, this is Nadia. I would be happy to go down the list and read the names of those who are in the meeting just to see if they are interested in speaking during the public comment portion, if that sounds reasonable to you.
Okay.
So forgive me for not knowing the commission members yet. I'm gonna just call on everybody, understanding that there are some people who have already spoken. I'm gonna begin with Bob Macca.
I'm good, thank you.
And Carl, I assume you are not interested in speaking during the public portion.
Correct.
Chris Dutton. I'm gonna go on, Chris, I know you've already spoken. Claire Nezarella.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for everybody, what you're doing. I'm representing the Board of Education, but I'm also a school teacher during this time. And the teachers and students really appreciate all your support.
Thank you, Ms. Nezarella. I will continue with Mr. Derek Williams.
Not this time.
We have a caller on the line. The name is Fiscator.
Hi, everybody. It's Tor Fisk from Conard. I'd just quickly to add that Melissa Hickey gave a great summary of West Hartford Public Schools. I didn't really have anything to piggyback onto that. Similar things are going on at Conard. I did think, though, like Nick had mentioned, springtime follow-up. We have Chris Heron scheduled to come in April. And he was here about, I think, 5 years ago now. So hopefully we'll be at a point with COVID where we can get him back in person. Very powerful speaker. Very well received by students the last time he was here, and kind of fits in nicely with our Heron Project Club here at Conard. And I believe that Hall's looking to start a chapter as well. And Chris, I heard your shout out, and I will be giving you a call to get that going again. I'll be taking that back over if we can get that back where we had it at one point. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. I am now going to call, I know Ms. Alex has already spoken. Heather Alex.
Yes, all set. Thank you.
Thank you. Howard Dashevsky.
I'm good.
Thank you. Joe Hopkins.
I'm all good. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Kadzo Kangwana.
I'm all set. Thank you.
Thank you. Melissa Hickey.
I'm all set. Thank you.
Natalie Gavalis.
I'm all set. Thank you.
I think this is Nordia.
Just want to thank Carl again for accepting the nomination, everybody else for the great work. Thank you.
Excellent. We have Patricia Graham.
I'm all set. Thank you.
Thank you. Samantha Innes.
I just wanted to say that I think the wellness group is a great idea. It'll be another way to get some resources and support readily available for the community. But other than that, I have nothing else to say. Thank you.
I'm just gonna add, because Samantha, like, not everyone probably maybe remembers who she is. So she's our social work police liaison, and she has started police ride-alongs and being stationed over at the PD 2 days a week. So she's integrating more and with them and going out on more calls and stuff. I forgot to include that in our social service update.
Thank you, Kelly. And the last person is Nick Sanford.
All set, thanks.
And that looks like that concludes the participant list, Chairman.
Okay, then without objection, I move for meeting to be adjourned. Are there any objections? Then we are adjourned. Stay safe and warm. Bye all.
Good night.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.